Wow. Wow. Okay. So then that adds to another question. So in regards to being wealthy, then, right? So do you think that becoming wealthy is a question of luck, or is this something that anyone can become wealthy? Like, how does that work?
All right, Joe, I'm going to say something that may shock you, but it's the truth. Wealth is actually genetic. Poverty is also genetic. So that means that your
Mm,
genes have learned a pattern that they duplicate. So if you're born in a lack based environment, your genes, this is what you call the biology of your environment. Your genes are going to copy the experiences in your environment and they're going to print them as an impression in your cells at the cellular level. At the brain level, you have a blueprint that tells you what you should think about money. So when that is printed there, it becomes part of your genes. So you will find yourself subconsciously making some decisions and choices that will make sure you become poor. You see, conversely, you are if you're born in a wealthy environment, you have printed in your genes the blueprints of the subconscious almost automatically that will
mm,
lead you to choices and decisions that will bring you wealth automatically. So what people must understand is that anyone, yes, can be wealthy. But what that really means for you to become wealthy, you have to understand and take advantage of discoveries found in neuroplasticity, which means that you're not a fixed psychological being.
that's a
You
fact.
can literally change the language of your genes by printing a different experience in them, and that is what I teach. But yes, to answer your question, Joe, anyone can become wealthy, right? That's what I offer on my weekly workshops, right? So if people want to learn more, they can always join and learn some more.
Okay, so if somebody who was born into poverty, excuse me, if somebody who was born into poverty would like to become healthy, what are the steps that person can take?
So the first step that I teach is how to change their self-image. So people believe that self-image is having positive affirmation, but it's more than that. It's literally to print a different version of you into your genes, in your neurons, so that you can pass it on to your children and reverse generational curse, right?
Hmm.
So, Joe, you're asking me about generational curse. Poverty is a psychological construct. We're talking about breaking neurological pathways and reconstructing an entire human being. We're talking
Mm,
about being transformed, which means going beyond the previous form to bring in another form. So trans actually means go beyond and form, right? So we're going beyond form. The Bible says, be thee transformed by the renewing of your mind, which means
mm,
you literally have to create another beingness, another physiological creature, which means printing another version of yourself in your genes and neurons. That takes someone who knows how to do that, to teach people to do that. That is what you know, my calling is about. I'm here to break people free from the generational curse of lack and limitations and poverty.
wow. Okay, so that brings another question. I got so many questions for you. I'm so sorry. But so a lot of people are dealing with financial anxiety, especially when it comes to spending, right? How can you help them overcome that?
All right. So the anxiety is coming from the seven toxic money energies that we feel in our heart. So feeling
Mm,
poor, feeling incapable, feeling worthless, feeling powerless, feeling insecure, unsafe, fearful. Those seven toxic energies that are in the heart. And it's actually creating the fear of spending because normally you cannot spend money. You can only circulate money because when you're spending money means that you're letting it go and it's never going to come back. But that's not how life works. Energy does not work that way. Energy cannot be lost. Energy can only be circulated. But
right.
when you have the seven toxic money energies within you, you're always going to feel like letting go of money means that it's never going to come back. So when you learn to change your self-image, your relationship to money changes too. And you begin to feel exponentially more powerful. You begin to experience positive feelings about yourself. You feel wealthy, capable, worthy, powerful, secure, safe, and free. You feel like the energy that is moving out of you and into that company that is providing electricity to your home and gas to your home and providing food to your home, you feel that same joyful, wealthy, capable, worthy, powerful, secure, you know, free energy. And the physical money is getting into those companies and blessing them, is expanding them, is allowing the energy of well-being to enter that company and circulate through the society and return back to you. So you will begin to spend money, to circulate money in that awareness that you are circulating money. You will automatically feel more joyful. So let me give you an example, Joe. Let's say you go to two different coffee shops every morning, right? And the
Mm.
first one, the customer service is just, I mean, amazing. You know, they ask you how you're doing, they ask about your family, they know you have a dog. For a moment, you forget that you're even there to get coffee. They put so much joy inside of you that you buy the coffee and you leave that place feeling really good about yourself. They have increased your self-image. The second coffee shop, you know, the service is pretty nonchalant. They don't say hello. People don't seem like they're in a very good mood.
Mm.
And they give you the coffee and you leave that place feeling not so great. So the second coffee shop, you know, is not where you would choose to go, right? You would go to the first one. What happens is the coffee shop will become wealthier, right? The first coffee shop, because the customers aren't really going to spend money. They're going to circulate money.
That's a
Why?
fact.
Because they're not really going for the coffee. Subconsciously, they are going to feel good, to have their self-image increased. So it is, you know, their own self-image that's pulling the cash out of their pocket and spending with that company. That coffee shop circulates a positive self-image into the client, and the client translates that positive self-image into cash, and that cash circulates back to the coffee shop, and that coffee shop feels way good about themselves and circulates back again to the client, and then the
Mm.
client feels more amazing about themselves, and then they bring their friends to circulate more of that feeling of well-being as cash into the company, and it goes on and on and on. It's incredible. That is how it works. You circulate money.